With all the adventures we've seen from Pixar, it's surprising that we haven't gotten a heist movie from them yet. We've got some cool action scenes, duos, and other teams, but never a full-on heist crew. As such, we have to wonder how successful a team made up of Pixar characters would be, who would make the cut, and what skills would they bring. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is which Pixar characters would make the best heist crew. Before we start, we'd like to mention that while anyone can be included, we're going to try to focus on villain characters whenever possible. There are a lot of great Pixar villains, but not enough to provide multiple choices for each of our roles. So, let's get started. You can't have a heist crew without a leader. For a heist to be successful, you're going to need someone who can be the brains. To be the brains takes more than just intelligence. They also have to be strategic, along with being someone who's confident and charming enough to get others to follow their orders. We have three choices: Syndrome, Mike Wazowski, and Woody. For many, Syndrome reigns supreme as one of Pixar's best villains. Naturally, one of the things that earned him this reputation was his insane level of planning and the nearly successful execution of these plans. After all, he's one of the few Pixar villains with an actual body count, given that he killed dozens of heroes to test his robots. Unfortunately, one of Syndrome's biggest shortcomings is that, for as powerful as he can be, his cockiness can lead him to losing control of the situation very quickly. Another master planner is Mike Wazowski. Although he seems like a pretty simple guy on the surface, Mike has one of the sharpest minds in the monster world when it comes to strategy and thinking on his feet. We see this in Monsters University, when he's able to use his knowledge of scare theory to scare all the adults.
Yes, you can. Just follow my lead.
He also comes up with a plan to trick Waternoose in the original movie.
Let's watch my favorite part again, shall we?
We couldn't end this section without mentioning Woody. Out of our three choices, Woody probably has the best teamwork and team coordination skills. When the toys have to break out of somewhere or figure out how to get home, it's Woody that's putting all the pieces together and coming up with some very effective plans.
Roller Bob and I don't move till we get the signal. Clear?
His only drawback is, well, he's a toy, and his small size would be a pretty significant detriment, even if his main role would just be to guide everyone else. So Mike would be better for this role. Not only would he have an easier time getting around if he needed to play an active role, but as a monster, he can also be just as stealthy as Woody. Next, we move on to the important role of the safecracker. This crew member often has nimble fingers, a level head, and the ability to work under pressure. The choices we have this time around are Al from Al's Toy Barn, Hank the Octopus, and Joe from Soul. Al may seem like a strange choice to some, as he's not exactly a criminal mastermind. Still, he was able to jimmy open the cash box that Annie's mom locked Woody in, and he was able to do this in a few seconds with only a screwdriver. Not the most impressive thing ever, but still fairly noteworthy. This is only a simple lock, not an entire safe. Someone who would likely do better is Hank. Fun fact, in real life, octopuses are actually very good at escaping and twisting open things like jars. Hank is skilled and swift, so we feel like he'd have a fairly easy time not only cracking the safe, but also getting in and out of the room without getting detected, thanks to his camouflage abilities. The only thing going for Joe would be his hands. While Joe is probably the last person you see trying to rob a bank, we still have to acknowledge that as a piano player, he likely has incredibly steady and nimble fingers. Unfortunately, he's sort of missing the ability to work under pressure ability. As such, we felt that Hank was our best option. He may only be an octopus, but hey, who says that octopuses can't make for good teammates? It's important to note we live in a high-tech world with security and surveillance systems that can stop any unprepared heist crew dead in their tracks. So this crew is going to need a tech-savvy hacker. We only have two choices, those being Evelyn Endeavor and Socks. Evelyn Endeavor, also known as the Screenslaver, is pretty skilled when it comes to tech. After all, she's the head of a company that specializes in it and is actually able to come up with some pretty high-tech stuff, despite Incredibles 2 taking place in the early 60s. We also know that she's a skilled hacker, since she's able to hack into monorails, helicopters, and hundreds of TVs. Even though Evelyn is impressive, Socks is in a league of his own. Obviously, him being a robot was already going to give him an advantage, but Socks just seems to be built for hacking, even if he was originally designed to be a therapy animal and companion. He hacks into and overrides several different security systems in light year, doing so in a matter of seconds, and he's also just incredibly intelligent in general. Our choice for this round is pretty easy. Welcome to the team, Socks. Sometimes you need someone low-key to blend in with the crowds. That's why we'll need a master of disguise. For this role, we've selected Randall, Hector Rivera, and Barbie. Randall needs no introduction. There was a reason why he was such a threat in the first Monsters, Inc. movie.
With this machine, we won't need scares.
With his unmatched camouflage abilities, he can sneak into anywhere and sneak up on anyone, allowing him to take down people who may be bigger or stronger than him. As for Hector, he's more of a traditional master of disguise, even if he only has one disguise, that being his Frida Kahlo look, which he dons 3 separate times in the movie. Although this disguise isn't good enough to fool the land of the dead's machines, it is good enough to fool most of its residents, so we'd say it's pretty handy. Finally, we have Barbie. In Toy Story 3, she was able to successfully disguise herself as Ken, getting the Buzz Lightyear instruction book from the bookworm. As a Barbie doll, we know that she likely has thousands of other disguises she can choose from, which could also be really useful. Much like Woody though, it's her size and status as a toy that gives her a massive disadvantage in a situation like this. So between Hector and Randall, we just had to go with the latter. Maybe it's a bit repetitive to have 2 teammates with camouflage abilities, but you can't deny the fact that Randall gets results. Whether they need to fight off guards or keep the crowds under control, every good heist crew needs muscle, someone who can show off their power when necessary. Excluding a certain super incredible and super strength wielding superhero, who if we're being honest would be far too easy of a choice, our choices come down to beastly characters, those being Johnny Worthington and Mei Lin. With Johnny, he's a top scare student at Monsters University, and it's not hard to see why. He's confident, strong, and very skilled, easily capturing those campus jock vibes.
After you lose, no one will remember you.
Not only do we feel like he could win a fight if he had to, but his skills as a scarer could also help with intimidating threats. Mei Lin, meanwhile, is easily the youngest choice we have on this list. Don't count her out, as once she transforms into her red panda self, she's definitely a force to be reckoned with. She's bigger, stronger, faster, and more durable than her human self, and can even swap between her forms at will. Mei Lin seems like the more solid and reliable choice, as she's able to control her red panda abilities well. As much as we may love a good fight, when plans go wrong and your crew gets pushed into a corner, sometimes the only way out is to blast your way out. So we're gonna need a skilled gunman. We have a nice selection that includes Future Buzz, aka Zurg, the Underminer, Eve, and Merida. With Future Buzz, he pretty much has all the firepower you could want from an evil fake emperor. With the size and strength of his blaster, we have no doubts that he could blast through whatever he needed to. However, for as powerful as he is, we wonder how easy it would be for him to hide until he was needed, given his heavy metal Zurg suit. The Underminer would fall into a similar problem, as the guy is more about explosions and drills causing havoc than shootouts. Still, one advantage the Underminer does have is that he has experience with breaking into bank vaults, which could be useful for his team. Even so, we do wonder how well of a team player he would be. Someone who can work well with others and who always has their eye on the mission is the lovely Eve from WALL-E. Being a robot, she has a built-in blaster that is not only powerful but practically deadly. This could cause its own problems, but it's still efficient regardless. Eve also has incredible aim, assuring that whatever target she needs to take out is taken out for good. Our final choice, Merida, also has some incredible aim. You only have to watch the scene where she shoots for her own hand to see that. She's even able to accurately shoot arrows while on horseback. But for as impressive as this is, she still only has arrows, which would have to be something the team would have to take into account. They can be just as deadly as bullets or lasers, but they take longer to load. With her firepower and ability to fly away, we felt like Eve was the obvious choice. You finally got your hands on your stolen prize. It's time to make a clean escape. When it comes to this, you're gonna hope that you pick the right getaway driver. Someone who's not only fast behind the wheel, but who knows how to avoid obstacles. Taking to the street are Towmater, Urkel Visconti, and Ian Lightfoot. When it comes to cars, we're sure that you guys would have thought that we'd go with a speedy character like Lightning McQueen. But while Lightning is fast, Mater has more skill when it comes to off-road driving. He's also a master at driving backwards, which could definitely come in handy in a pinch. Another skilled driver is Luka's Urkel Visconti. Obviously, things like riding a bike or Vespa are different from driving a car, but Urkel still proves to be great at avoiding obstacles and chasing after his targets.
See monster! Right there!
But if you want a more traditional getaway driver, you can't really go wrong with Onward's Ian Lightfoot. Initially, Ian was afraid of driving, specifically on the highway.
I can do this!
Yes, you can!
I'm ready!
After escaping the pixie dusters, however, he becomes an excellent driver and is even able to outdrive the police. It's a pretty close call, but we feel like Mater is the best choice because he has better and more unique skills. We've come to our final crew member, someone who's always a bit of a mystery due to getting recruited at the last minute. You never know what they bring to the table, but that's what makes them the wild card. Our final selections include Edna Mode, Darby, and Queen Eleanor. Edna is not a traditional hero, but she has plenty of skills. She's familiar with various materials in different fields of science, allowing her to provide her clients with some pretty amazing outfits. Edna is also incredibly level-headed and handles stress well, which would be helpful in a heist.
As am I, Robert. Yet here we are.
Darby is Team Lightyear's explosives expert. She's able to use any nearby materials to make a bomb, seems to have a good understanding of security systems, and is able to think fast on her feet.
How hard can it be? Look, we got these spiky things.
If our crew ever needs some extra boom power, Darby is definitely the one to go with. Finally, Queen Eleanor. Her many skills as a queen and diplomat could allow her to defuse a situation or even provide a distraction. We could also incorporate her bear form, which could provide extra muscle. Any of these ladies would work well, but for us personally, we had to go with the one and only Edna Mode. Her potential of what she can add seems almost limitless, and you can't beat that. And that's our crew. But let us know in the comment section if you agree with our picks and what you think their likelihood at success would be. Also, tell us what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge more of our videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.